Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a smoky plum look. I created this look yesterday on Instagram Live. So many of you tuned in to watch me create the look, and a lot of you actually wanted a YouTube video on it so you guys could come back and recreate the look. And also a lot of you also didn't catch the Instagram Live. So I thought it'd be a really good idea to film it for you guys because so many of you wanted to see it. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys today. So I'm going to jump right into it and I hope you guys enjoy. So first things first is the most important step when doing your makeup, and that's skin prep. I personally don't use primers. I have to just make sure that my skin is extremely well hydrated. So I'm taking my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream and applying this quite generously all over my face and making sure that that's rubbed in and all soaked up into my skin. We're then just going to jump right into doing our eyes, and I'm first applying my base, which as always is MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. Applying this all over my eyelid with my finger and making sure that that's blended in quite well. I'm taking the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette and I'm taking the shade Peaches and Cream and using that to set in the eye base. For eyeshadow, I'm taking the Meet Matrimony palette by The Balm and I'm mixing the shades Matte Lopez and Matte Evans and just applying those into my crease with a big fluffy brush by Sigma and making sure that there are no harsh lines. I'm going back into the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette and I'm taking the shade Puree with my favorite Zoeva blending brush. I believe it's the 228 Luxe blending brush, and applying that into the socket of my eye and blending that in with the first few eyeshadows that we applied. And you want to make sure that you're really focusing on the blending because that is the key to a deep smoky eye, is making sure that all the colors blend in with each other seamlessly. I'm mixing the shades White Peach and Luscious and applying them to my brow bone as my brow bone highlight with a fluffy blending brush. This one is by Sigma as well. I'm then taking the Urban Decay Glide On Eye Pencil, 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil, I'm sorry, and I'm applying this to my lid. This is going to act as a base for our Plum eyeshadow. Not only will this make the Plum eyeshadow a lot more long wearing, but it will also intensify the color a lot. And I'm just applying that directly onto my eyelid and smudging that out with my finger. You don't have to worry too much about getting this too neat or too perfect. We are going to be applying an eyeshadow over it anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. I'm taking the shade Matte Moskowitz from the Meet Matrimony palette. This is one of the most beautiful plum shades I have ever seen. And I'm applying this directly onto my lid. I'm making sure to pack this in. Make sure you don't swipe it, otherwise the product will not stick as opaquely. So just make sure that you're carefully patting that on. And then I'm taking my Zoeva blending brush with no extra product and I'm just blending out those edges. From the same palette, I'm taking the shade Matte Kuma, and this is a beautiful burgundy shade, and I'm taking that on the same Zoeva blending brush and applying this directly into my socket. As I've mentioned countless times, you just really want to make sure that you're blending that out really well. You kind of almost want the colors to blur in with each other. So you can't really see which color was applied first. It's all just melting into each other. And I just applied a little bit more of the plum shade because I just love it a little bit more opaque. I then took the shade Matte Reed, I believe, with that same brush and I just applied that into the socket as well. I took a clean blending brush and just really just blended that away, just to make sure that everything is just floating in with each other seamlessly. Add a little bit more of the burgundy shade, just because I love a little bit more red. It really makes my eyes pop, and a little bit more of the plum shade as well. I'm cleaning up some of the fallout. I actually had a lot of fallout, but that's all right. And I then just curled my lashes and applied some mascara. I believe the mascara I used was by Max Factor. I'll be sure to leave it down below. And then I applied my most favoriteest lashes in the world, and these are the Athena lashes by Iris Beauty. As you can see, I got a little bit too messy with the glue, which was really hard for me to fix, but that's okay. Moving on to the skin, I am applying 2 different shades of the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation, only because I'm a little bit more tanned than usual. So I first applied the shade 118, and then I went in with a little bit of the shade 153. I just applied those directly onto my skin, and then I blended that out with my artist brush, oval 8 brush. Honestly, I'm generally not one to blend my foundation in with a brush, but I am so obsessed with this. It just blends everything in like butter. I absolutely love it. But then I just grabbed a damp beauty blender and really pushed the foundation into my skin. I do this because not only does it make my foundation a little bit more long wearing, but it also adds a little bit more moisture into my skin, which, let's be honest, is always very needed with me. I'm then taking the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Concealer palette. You guys know I have been so obsessed with this lately. I took the third shade in the palette and I'm using that to correct my dark circles, applying this underneath my eyes with my finger and really pushing it down and blending it kind of into the center of my face because that's where I want the most light. And then I'm taking a damp beauty blender and pushing that into my skin and just using that to blend it out. I'm then taking the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Custard, my favorite, and I'm applying this just below my eyes, bringing it to the side of my nose, also applying it to my chin, my forehead, the bridge of my nose, and just below the holes of my cheekbones to cut my contour when I apply it. And of course, grabbing that damp beauty blender once again, and then just pushing everything into my skin and blending it all out. And I'm not just pushing it into my skin, I'm kind of using a push and roll technique. So I'm kind of pushing it into my skin and rolling it at the same time. I'm then going to cream contour my face, and I'm taking my favorite product, which is the William Tuttle Cream Foundation in the shade Chinese 2. And I'm using a makeup store brush for this, and I'm applying it into the holes of my cheekbones, around my forehead, and also my jawline. Once again, we are whipping out our handy dandy damp beauty blender, and I'm also using this to blend out the contour color. And I'm using the same technique. I'm pressing it in and twisting it in a twisty motion, obviously, but I'm also just dabbing it as well, just to blend it out a lot better. I'm then going to bake my under eyes with some translucent powder. As always, I'm using my Laura Mercier loose translucent powder. I'm applying this underneath my eyes, bringing it down closer towards the center of my face, also the side of my nose, and also just below the holes of my cheekbones to cut my contour once again. I'm then moving back onto the eyes. I'm taking the Plum shade on a definer brush and applying this to my lower lash line, and taking a bit of puree onto a pencil brush. I am using that to blend out the plum. I'm then taking the black shade from the Meet Matrimony palette onto that same definer brush, applying it to my lower lash line and then blending it out with that same pencil brush. I'm kind of going back and forth between the plum shade and the puree shade, and then taking a very small fluffy brush and blending it out. Moving on to the lips, I'm first taking Spice Lip Liner by MAC, and I'm lining my lips and also filling them in with the lip pencil. I am then taking two liquid lipsticks by the brand Black Moon Cosmetics. The first shade is called Morning, and I am just applying that directly on top and then smudging that out with my finger. And then I'm taking the second shade, which is called Libra, and applying that directly on top and smacking my lips together just to blend that out as well. And of course, when applying any lip color, you just want to clean up those edges. So I just took a bit of my foundation onto a concealer brush and just use that to sharpen them up. I'm then just going to dust off all the leftover powder off my face. This brush I am using is by It Cosmetics, and it's just like a double-sided powder brush. So yeah, and I'm just buffing all of that powder off using circular motions and being very gentle as well. For bronzer, I'm taking none other than my Sephora Stun Disc bronzer in the shade Tin 2, and I'm using my favorite bronzer brush as well. This one is by Zoeva, and I'm just buffing that into the hollows of my cheekbones and around my forehead. For blush, I'm taking the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach blush, and I'm applying this to the apples of my cheeks. And then for highlighter, I'm taking this beautiful Hourglass palette. I just recently got this, and I'm taking this shade, I believe it's called Surreal Light, and I'm applying this to the tops of my cheekbones and my temples in a kind of C shape with a hair and makeup protection brush. And then lastly, I'm going to be using the buffing technique. If you guys want to know more about that, you should check out Wayne Goss's channel because he talks a little bit more about that. But I'm just taking this Becca powder and then just lightly buffing that on top of all of my makeup to give it that real life Photoshop look. And lastly, I am applying some mascara to my lower lashes, and we are done. So this is it for the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and hopefully learned something new today as always. I really want to say a massive thank you to everybody who tuned in to my Instagram live yesterday. I had so much fun and I definitely plan on doing them a little bit more regularly because I enjoyed it so much. And yeah, I think next time I'll probably plan it a little bit more in advance just so I could be a little bit more prepared and so you guys would know a little bit more in advance as well, because I know a lot of you missed out because of time difference. So yeah, I'll definitely plan that a little bit more in advance next time. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a massive thumbs up. That would really help me a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what else you would like to see on my channel. Lately I've been really lost about what to film. I don't really know what you guys want to see, so please let me know in the comments down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Have an awesome day, guys. Bye.